August 18th, 2002,
December 1st,
June 15th, 1991.
Was the scariest night.
Was the scariest night.
Was the scariest night.
Was the scariest night. Was the scariest night of my life.
I was being violently assaulted by the most powerful and terrifying entity I have ever seen and felt.
There was a presence in my house. I had never been so scared.
This evil spirit wanted to do me serious harm.
That shadow was like the devil himself. I was paralyzed. He wanted to possess me.
I knew in that moment, I have to get the out of this room.
I see it right here.
In 2007, we purchased a home. It was our first home.
I'm done.
Everything was going great. We were all happy, me and my husband, Fernando, and my two kids, Bernie and Valentina. My husband had a good job, and then I started working, so we decided to buy a house. We moved from one-bedroom apartment to a three-bedroom house. It was big. My kids had their own rooms.
So, what do you think?
I love it. I'm so excited.
So good, yeah?
My daughter was so happy. My son was 4.5. He was very happy to have his little room. We put everything in the house, enjoying to be like us, you know, like a family that we are.
Okay, kids.
It was a long day.
This time,
I take my daughter to her room,
30 minutes of furious effort.
tuck her in.
Okay, we're gonna read the same prayers. Okay.
We pray.
That will be done.
Amen.
And kiss her goodnight. My little boy, he has autism, so he goes to bed with me. After tucking in the children for the night, I went to relax and watch a little bit of TV. And we're watching, you know, a movie, a comedy movie. I started noticing in the air, the environment of the house, something weird. But I looked around and I didn't see anything out of place. I feel the room, it felt cold for me. In the corner of my eye, I saw this shadow, a black shadow. It passed by and disappeared. So I just tried to ignore it. It was a long day. I was just imagining things. My daughter comes screaming out of her room, yelling. Something knocked on her window.
No, I wasn't. I swear I saw it.
And she was shaking, and I told her, what did you see? And she told me, it's an ugly face. I don't know how to say it. It's an ugly face. She saw this scary face. We went into her room.
Fernando, ¿qué te pasa?
Do you see anything?
But I swear I saw it. It's okay. See, nothing is there. Nobody's there.
I don't see anything either. There's nothing here.
Okay, baby, I don't see anything.
We checked outside the window. Nothing was there.
I'll go check outside.
My husband went around the house to see what was out there. Nothing was there. But since she was so scared of seeing that face, we decided for her to sleep in our room.
Thank you.
Fernando went to work at his night shift. I'm married for 16 years and a half. I have 2 beautiful kids. All my life, I've been a spiritual person. I believe in spirits. I believe when you die, there's an afterlife. I have a gift. I have a gift that I could feel the spirits. I got the spirit board. I took it out because I wanted to see what was really there, because I felt it. I felt that something was there. I felt the energy, a heavy energy. The spirit board is to communicate with the spirits. But if you open a door, something bad comes out. I felt the presence of a spirit in my house. I asked them, who are you? Nothing happened. The second time, I asked, what is your name? Nothing happened. The third time, I got mad, and I said, I know you're here. Show yourself. And the spirit board started moving towards the F. U. T. U. R. E.
Future.
And then the planchette started moving. It spelled out hazy. Future hazy. I just got up. I felt that already that something was there with me. I put it away. I started doing my routine. I just felt again this heavy thing in the kitchen. And I hear footsteps approaching. They're very slow and heavy. I see a shadow standing, but I cannot see the face. Me, in my head, saying I have my kids here, I have to protect them. I felt scared. I didn't know how to stop this thing. I yelled,
I am not afraid of you.
I'm not afraid of you. Show your face. Who are you? And then he disappeared. I thought he left me alone and left my family alone. But no, I was wrong. I went to the restroom to wash my face. I washed my face. I see in the mirror that it's not my face. It wasn't me. I saw the reflection of the face that was not my face. I looked very pale. My eyes were like black. I got scared. I got scared, to be honest. I got scared. I felt that it was inside me. I felt sick and trying to fight back to get out that thing that it wasn't me. When I vomit, black thing just came out of me. It smelled bad. It smelled like when something's dead, it smelled like that. And when I washed my face fast again, I saw my reflection again. Myself. My body went back to normal. I went back to normal. I felt that I had to fight this thing, to fight whatever was trying to attack me. I had to be brave and fight it back. I'm fighting with something you think that you cannot win. I turned on the lights, all of them. I was afraid of the darkness. I left everything, every light on, every light on. I go back to my bedroom. I get into my bed. My kids are there with me. They didn't know nothing what was going on. And I see all the lights going off, one by one. Everything's getting dark and dark. Everything went black. And then my heart started beeping fast. I hear heavy footsteps. I felt that he was coming back, but more aggressive. There was a presence in my house, and it was focused on me. I had never been so scared. I opened my eyes. He was in front of me. His face, it's black like a charcoal. His eyes look black in the front and red around. Breathing. Breathing. I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. He had my hands like that. I couldn't talk. I couldn't move. He was right in front of my face. I wanted to close my eyes, and I just felt tears coming on the side of my eyes, trying to look at my kids. And I couldn't move because that thing was on top of me. That shadow was like the devil himself. I'm feeling scared. He wanted, like, I guess, to possess me. I was praying in my head, Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. In the Ave Maria, I said it like 3-4 times. Padre nuestro, Ave Maria. I was saying amen, 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 amen. And the 7th time, when I said amen, he disappears. I breathe. And I see him standing in front of my bed, looking at me. I was still afraid. And when he turned around, he disappears in the wall.
Get up, get up, get up.
I just got my kids, woke them up, and got out of the house.
Okay, let's go. Let's go, let's go.
And that was the scariest night of my life. I think that the devil was around the house already, but I think by using this spirit board, it gave him more power. I went to this church, and I talked to the priests and told them that I needed help. And the priest himself just looked at me and told me to get out. I don't know what he saw in me. So after that, we sold the house with everything in there, with everything. Never went back. There's some people out there that they don't believe. For those people that they don't believe in spirits or ghosts or demons, they are spirits, there are ghosts, there are demons out there. Because I go back at that year, and it was a bad experience for me. A very bad experience that but I saw this thing. That I would never forget.
Each time that I speak about this, it's like the more I start to remember, I wasn't alone. I wasn't by myself. There was something else in the room. I knew that if I didn't get out of here now, I never would. I had to stop it. I had no idea what the hell was there. But whatever that was, it was definitely an evil presence. My partner David and I decided to move in together. He was living in a building right downtown, right on a busy street. The space is big, beautiful, unique. The building itself is 150 years old. A lot of character to it. It's had many incarnations. It was initially used as a hotel. It's been used as a doctor's office, a tattoo parlor. At some point, it was used as a flop house. People were just sort of living there. It's a strong, old building with really, really good bones. And considering how old it is, there's some kind of majesticness about it that still sort of holds up. So it was time for me to go to bed. I'd had a long day, and it was probably around 9:45. David and I have completely different working schedules. I'm a teacher, and David is a photographer, which often means when I'm heading to bed for the night, David is wide awake working in his studio. I had gone to bed this one night and just sort of started to fall asleep. While I was in bed, all of a sudden I felt something. I woke up to this feeling of the weight of a person sitting on my feet. It was as though somebody just sort of flopped down onto my feet. But I could feel the full weight of this person, like my feet were trapped underneath them. And when I opened my eyes to see what it was, there was sort of this moonlight figure and shadow. Sort of slowly turned around and looked at me. Pillbox hat on her head, horn-rimmed glasses on her face, fur collar. And I just remember thinking that she was somehow related. She was looking at me as though she needed my reassurance. I felt a little bit scared, but somehow felt completely calm at the same time. I wasn't afraid at all. And she turned her head away again And when I closed my eyes and opened them again, she was gone. I didn't feel as though there was anything I had to fear. But that soon was going to change. I fell back asleep. I was woken up again because I could hear things. What sounded like voices. And as I slowly started to open my eyes, I could see around the room there were at least 10 people standing around the bedroom. I was being visited by 10 ghosts that were trying to communicate with me, trying to send me some kind of message. Again, all sort of shadowed by moonlight, it seemed. They were all sort of talking amongst themselves. I couldn't necessarily understand what they were saying, but I could hear them as though they were all talking in hushed whispers. But it seemed as though it was all meant for me to hear. There were men, there were women. Some of them young, some of them old. All of the people that were standing in the room were in various states of dress. Some of them were wearing coats. It certainly looked dated. It wasn't modern at all. It could have been from the 20s. Some of it could have been from the 50s. It just seemed like a real mix of people from different generations that were all together somehow in this room. I rolled back over on my side and I closed my eyes. I just hoped that it would just go away. And I'm not 100% sure if I fell back into a sleep again, because the next thing I could hear those sounds, the shh. Those words, they were closer. And when I opened my eyes, it felt like it was midday. It was the middle of the night, but the room, it was so bright. I was surrounded by them. They were as close as though somebody was right in front of me, right here. They were that close to me. I'd look to my right, I'd look to my left, and directly all in front of me, they were all there. There was at least 10. They had urgency in their face. They had urgency in what they were trying to say. It was like they were shouting out over one another to be heard. I felt like my heart was racing. It was too much for me. I couldn't handle it. What I was feeling was that they were desperate to somehow pass on information to me. They were so determined to want to, all of them, communicate with me in that same moment. The way that they were all speaking individually, it was like they were there by themselves and unaware of the fact that there were other spirits that were surrounding them. And it was so overwhelming. Some of them were expressing, I could see a lot of pain in their faces when they were trying to communicate to me. There was this level of desperation that they had. The entire time all of this activity is happening in the bedroom, David is editing the work that he's done that day for deadlines he has to meet the following day. He's got some music playing. He's very focused on what he's doing. It's almost like he tunes out everything else that's around him. At that moment, I felt like claustrophobic. I felt completely surrounded. I also felt that I couldn't move. This was becoming very, very scary. It was frightening to me. This was not like anything I had ever experienced before. They were terrorizing me, and I had to stop it. No, you need to stop. I can't understand you. I can't listen anymore. You have to stop. And I close my eyes, and I'm thinking to myself, you have to leave, you have to go, I can't listen to you, this is too much, I can't hear you. And when I open my eyes again, they were gone. I felt completely exhausted, and I fell asleep. But those 10 spirits, they were nothing for what was about to happen. I don't know how long I was asleep for, but I suddenly felt like there was somebody walking on the bed. It almost felt like if you've ever had like a dog or a cat and they jump onto the bed and they're walking around you, you can feel the weight of their paws touching the bed. It initially felt like that, and that's what sort of had me wake up. And I was lying on my side, and I could feel what felt like something was walking around me. When I opened up my eyes, I could also feel this cool wetness, as though something had just walked through the lower part of my legs, between my knees and my ankles. It felt completely different than the weight that I felt from the first visitor that night. It also felt really, really angry and hostile. I couldn't breathe. It was so heavy and cold. It felt like a block of ice down my body. I was absolutely terrified. And I slowly turned my head over. I was really confused. I had no idea what the hell was there. This thing was black and tar-like, and it was wet and shiny at the same time, and it was standing in the middle of the bed. It was like it was standing through the bed. I could see the silhouette of what looked like a person, but without any distinguishing features. I could not see eyes, I couldn't see a nose, there were no ears, there was nothing. And it has arms and hands, but I can't make out any facial features whatsoever. But the energy it was giving off was so, so, so dark and so horrible. All I could feel was this was going to be violent. And it suddenly reached and grabbed my arm. I was being violently assaulted by the most powerful and terrifying entity I have ever seen it felt. It felt like this evil spirit wanted to do me serious harm. I was so scared, I was petrified. I knew that if I didn't get out of here now, I never would. And it suddenly reached and grabbed my arm. And I was in shock. I was absolutely terrified. And it yanked me right across the bed to the point where I was thrown onto the floor of the other side of the bed. And I was terrified. It was violent, and I was afraid in that moment it was going to come back at me again. There was no way that a human could do this. I couldn't believe what was happening. It physically dragged me to the other side of the room. It wanted to do harm to me, to hurt me. It was so powerful. I didn't think I was going to get out of this. I have to get the F out of this room. But I knew it was totally real. I felt it. I saw it. I felt how angry it was towards me. I felt how much it wanted me out of there. I felt how much it hated me.
David. I was just attacked.
And David, and he's like, what the hell is going on with you? And I'm breathing, and I'm breathing, and I'm trying to calm down, and I'm like, something just grabbed me in the bedroom. Something just pulled me across the bed and threw me onto the floor. I'm like, it's angry, it's so angry. And he just looked at me as though I was having a nightmare or something. And I knew in that moment he didn't believe me. He completely thought I had manifested this in my head. And he said, you're having a nightmare, you're fine. And I stood there and I breathed and I tried to calm myself down. And as much as I was afraid, I also felt so angry, like as though somehow I had been like violated some way. But I've never felt like that before. I've never felt that level of hostility towards me by anything. Like it really wanted to hurt me. I was determined to let this thing know that it was not welcome here, that this was my place. I have to communicate with this thing and tell it to get out. Get the out of here. You are not welcome here. This is mine. Get out. It felt better in that moment that somehow matching up with that aggression towards this thing was somehow going to make it go. I was so angry, but I was so exhausted. All I wanted to do was go to sleep. And I turned the light off, and I turned on the light beside the bed. I left that light on and I closed my eyes, and I think just because of sheer exhaustion, I managed to finally go to sleep. And that was the scariest night of my life. I don't know what it was within me that triggered all of those things to happen that night. Each time that I speak about this, it's like the more I start to remember, reliving that moment and the depths of how sinister that thing was that was in my bedroom, and really at the heart of it, like, what was the message of all of that? I said to David that I could feel like somebody was sitting on my feet, and I described how this woman looked. He walked into the living room, and he pulled out this photograph of the woman that I saw sitting on my feet. And it was his grandmother. It was like she had come to make sure everything was okay. And then those 10 spirits that were there, I thought they were just trying to communicate with me. And perhaps really what they might have been trying to do was to warn me about what was coming. And in that moment, I was thinking that they were just there because they wanted to tell me about themselves. And that what they were actually trying to do was to warn me against this thing. I don't know. I don't know why any of it happened. I wonder if all of that was just about trying to protect me, to help me, to save me somehow. But thinking about it, it's terrifying, and it makes me feel unnerved. And there's a part of me that still worries about what would be next.